When you're talking about a device with as many features as the OnePlus Open, it can be really easy for some really outstanding things to fly under the radar. There may be things that your phone can do that you don't even realize that it can do. That's why in this video, I'm going to go over a handful of what I think are the most underrated features on the OnePlus Open. This first one is a hardware feature that I wish every phone still had. On the OnePlus Open, all the way up here at the top of your device, above or next to, I guess, the volume rocker, you have this little slider. And what this thing does is it allows you to very quickly toggle between silent mode, vibrate mode, and ring being on. You don't have to fiddle with your settings, hit the volume rocker, and then press a button in there. You can just simply move this alert slider, maybe even leaving the phone in your pocket. Just reach into your pocket and slide the slider where you need it to be, and it's going to do what it needs to do. I love that. Physical solutions for things that you probably use to some degree relatively often. Wish every phone had it. This next one is something that I'm fully aware that a lot of you absolutely love, but it's also something that I just don't think until you've experienced it, you can fully appreciate how great it is. And it's warp charge. It's 67-watt charging. I've talked about how on this device, the battery life is actually quite solid, but I've also said that the battery life is almost irrelevant because it can charge so obscenely fast. If you find yourself sitting at, like I am right now, about 50% battery, and you've got 10 or 15 minutes, you can plug this thing into an appropriate and compatible warp charger, and in that 10 or 15 minutes, you're basically going to be back to a full charge. Again, maybe it's not underrated for you, but I just don't think everyone, unless they've experienced it, fully understands how great that charging speed is. If you're coming from a Pixel Fold or a Z Fold, something like that, trust me when I tell you it is a game changer. Do yourself a favor. Go buy a Warp Charge compatible car charger too. It's fantastic. So now we're moving into the world of software features. And the first one that a lot of people I don't think fully appreciate is the Smart Sidebar. Nestled right up here in this top corner, you should be able to see my cursor there. There's this little grayed out area, and if you swipe on this, you get this sidebar that pops out, and there are a lot of cool things that you can do with it. Obviously, you can quickly take a screenshot. I like the ability to take a partial screenshot. You click on that, and then you can just sort of drag out a little square, and you get a partial screenshot. It's basically like the Windows snipping tool that I use all the time. You can quickly mark this thing up after you're done. Tons of options there. I'm going to delete that one because I don't actually need it. You can quickly fire up a screen recording, a quick note that's going to pop up in this floating window. You quickly need to jot something down. It's right there. Here's a website that is actually in Portuguese. Let's see if this screen translate feature is going to be able to do the job, and very rapidly it does. It's actually just triggering Google Lens and doing that translation, and that works just fine. You can also select an app from this little app drawer, and if you click on it, it's going to launch it in a floating window. It's a really, really nice, quick way to do that. I accidentally just opened this thing up in split screen mode from the floating window, but you get the general idea. Let's close that application. We'll go back into it once again. Doing it with a mouse is a little bit more difficult than it normally is, but there you go. There is your floating window. We also have a couple of pretty cool ways to interact with files. So you have this recent files option, which allows you to quickly drag and drop images and documents. Let me try that one more time. Google Messages is a good example for this. I could drag this down to the little text window. It attaches the image and I'm able to send it. If I have documents on the phone, it could also see those as well. But we also have this pretty cool feature called File Dock. If we jump into our settings, you can see the option for this here. Drag and drop images and text from supporting apps to the File Dock for easier sharing. On the next screen, bring up the Smart Sidebar, open the File Dock, and drag and drop content to other apps. So it's very similar to this recent apps thing, but you can actually manually put apps into it, or files, I should say, into it. And then another cool thing is it will actually sync across your devices. So if you have other OnePlus devices with this file dock and you're signed in, it is basically like an AirDrop quick share type thing, but for your own devices. I'll show you how this works really quickly. So let me long press on this photo. I'm going to long press it again to drag it around, and I can put it right into that file dock. And if I had another OnePlus device, it would now have that file. And if I'm in another application and I want to send that file to them, I can pull this thing open, grab the file dock, and I can drag it in and go further. Obviously, this will just upload it back to Google Photos where it already is. I'm not going to do that, but you get the idea. Now, not only does the OnePlus Open have that smart sidebar that we have just been talking about with its file dock and its recent files, you also have a full taskbar down here at the bottom as well. Now, I'm sure by now everyone understands that you can use the taskbar to either quickly switch applications, or you can use the taskbar to drag an app up and split screen applications. All of that stuff is well and good, but maybe you have forgotten that that very same recent files folder is right there as well. You can long press that file, drag it into something like Threads, and you are now sending that image off. You could, of course, just click on the little image icon and attach it manually that way. But if you find this to be a quicker, easier way to do it, it's there. It's yet another way to interact with your files. This next one is something that I use all of the time, and I definitely need Google to steal this one as well. In the default Photos app, if you've got a photo like this and you need to pop this object, whatever it might be, in this case my dog Jet, out of the background, all you have to do is touch it and hold. And it will just automatically pop this thing. I can throw it right into my file dock if I want to, or I can just click on add a sticker or save, whatever I need to do. Regardless, I end up with this image, the background like perfectly popped out of it. You have seen the end result of this in some of my thumbnails. Maybe there's a render of a phone or something like that. I'll often just throw that render onto my OnePlus Open, touch it for 2 seconds, and boom, it is perfectly popped out, and it is in really, really sharp quality. Unlike some websites that do similar things that degrade your quality, this doesn't do that. It looks great. If we jump into the wallpapers and style section and we go into always on display, there are actually some pretty cool things in here down underneath system. They'll basically give you an always on display that might give you a bit of information. To me, the most prominent one is this one called Insight. What this does is it's going to show each time you have unlocked your device and then for how long. Each little line break is going to basically designate that was a new unlock, and then how long that bar is shows how long it was unlocked for. So we're going to go ahead and apply this, and let me see if I can show you this in the capture. That's perfect. So today I've unlocked this OnePlus Open one time, and that was to be filming this. So you can see that there's only the one unlock and it is completely full. But if I go ahead and I unlock the thing again and now go back in, you will see 2 unlocks. So it's going to help you kind of keep track of not just how many times you're pulling that phone out of your pocket and unlocking it. It's actually going to help you understand how long each time you are using that phone. This last one is kind of buried, so you might not know that it's there, but if you go to accessibility and convenience and you look for screen off gestures, I absolutely love these. So the easiest one for me is music control. If you take 2 fingers and swipe down while your screen is off, it will do a play pause on that song. You can also do a quick little arrow like they're showing there to skip or go back to a previous track, skip ahead or go back, and there are several more. Draw a V to turn your flashlight off and on. Draw an O to open up your camera. I think that these are really cool. And there's actually more. Calculator, launch the assistant. Let me actually demonstrate some of these. So you can see here that my device is locked. I'm going to draw that little V shape, and there is my flashlight. If I quickly draw a circle, it is going to unlock and fire up my camera, or I guess not unlock and fire up the camera. If I go to swipe up, I'm still going to have to authenticate to get in, but you know what I mean. I mentioned split screen multitasking just a minute ago when I talked about how you can grab any application off of this little taskbar down here and you can drag that thing up onto the screen to jump into that split screen multitasking. But there's another way to do this that I think works so much better than even that. Take two fingers and do a swipe down on your screen. And what's going to happen is that app you're looking at is going to split in half and just get out of your way. And at that point, you are just looking at your home screen. You're not going to be forced to go alphabetically and just find an application and then drag it up there. You can use that muscle memory that you've already built up and just simply tap that second app. And there you go. It's going to jump into that spot right next to it. That is one of my favorite OnePlus Open features, and I really do feel like it continues to fly under the radar. I would love to see Google copy this, rip it off, and put it straight into Android. Guys, I'm sure that there are going to be several great comments down below of features that I could have put into this video. If you can think of something that you really love about the OnePlus Open, a feature that you think just doesn't get enough appreciation, do drop that comment down below. Subscribe before you go so you don't miss out on more content like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.